Hey GenderqueerChat, it's Matt, and happy Tuesday, or it's probably more like Wednesday at the moment. I'm in a different city today, so I couldn't upload my video on time. But at the moment I'm filming from the 22nd floor of my hotel at a rooftop swimming pool overlooking the city, which is pretty amazing. And I came to Melbourne to see Death Cab for Cutie, and the gig was last night, and it was fucking amazing and really fun, so I thought I would shoot my video here and upload it from the hotel, and we can all share in the love and awesomeness that is my Melbourne adventure. So this week's topic is do other people's perceptions of your gender identity bother you, and how does this maybe motivate you to present or act in ways that you may not normally think of doing. So yes, other people's perceptions of my gender identity does bother me, and always has bothered me, probably in slightly different ways now than it maybe would have before I identified as genderqueer, or while I was coming out, or really sort of nutting out gender. So at the moment, I think the thing that bothers me the most about people's perceptions is the fact that if I tell somebody I'm genderqueer, or try to explain to them that I have a non-binary gender, or even just try and open their minds that there may be genders other than male or female, often I'm sort of left feeling pretty unsatisfied about that conversation. Some people really engage, or a very few people that I've met and talked to about it have engaged me on the topic, have asked questions, or sort of done their own research, or sort of come back at me with a intelligent kind of argument, or sort of conversation about it. Most people just kind of take it at face value and then just leave it, and you find that it doesn't really come up in conversation again. Now, while that's good and non-confrontational and doesn't really cause any kind of conflict, it leaves you feeling pretty unsatisfied, because with something like gender, which is quite a hard thing to get your head around, and for a lot of people that I may have told, it might be the first time that they've ever had that sort of crop up, the first time they've ever met somebody who's gender non-conforming or gender variant, or presenting or having a non-binary gender. Because they don't really know that, then you're pretty much left with their own assumptions or perceptions on what that is. So I may tell somebody that I am genderqueer, I might explain to them what that means to me, but then they'll go away with their own set of ideas around that, and will either treat me differently or not treat me differently based on that. I can honestly say that nobody's ever treated me differently, as far as I can tell. The people that I have told have been really accepting and have just taken it in their stride. But that does bother me a little bit, because without some kind of return discourse or sort of follow-up conversation about it, I'm not really sure what people think. I get worried that people might sort of take what I've said when I've talked about my gender identity as just a passing thing, or maybe they've just kind of, I don't know, listened to it and written it off. And that's good in some ways, because that means that they just accept me for me, and they're not treating me any different because they don't see me as any different. And hopefully I'm just giving them the words and a little bit of dialogue to explain the way I am, and hopefully that's congruent with what they actually see from me. That's what I'd like to think. But yeah, I get worried that how they perceive me and my gender identity, how I feel about myself, may not align with what I'm trying to get across to them, or how I do feel about myself. And therefore, by telling people and by coming out and by sort of talking about my gender, it may actually not be having any kind of benefit. I might have been better off not talking about it in the first place. So that's what kind of concerns me these days. I guess what it comes down to is that I feel that there's a fair bit of invisibility surrounding my gender identity, because I generally present male, even though the way that I dress and the way that I present myself, to me, is how I feel comfortable, and I don't label that as male. I don't label that as androgynous either. I just dress in a way, to me, that is not male, but it's not particularly anything else. It's just how I feel comfortable. So that's how I dress and present and sort of act and carry myself most of the time. But I kind of forget that people will still see that and still see a person presenting as male. So I can't really expect much more of that. in the ways that it may motivate me to sort of present myself in ways that I normally wouldn't. Not really sure how to answer that. I guess for the most part I'm still socialised, and because people generally perceive me as male, then generally I'm going to come across male. I don't do a lot to really sort of bend the rules of gender. Like, I don't dress in clothing necessarily of the opposite sex. I think my genderqueerness is mainly up here, and I hope that that carries across in my personality and the things that I'm interested in and what I talk about and the way I present, but it's not something that is nobody's ever going to look at me and go, wow, that person, you know, clearly are they a guy or are they a girl? I can't work it out. Like, nobody's ever going to look at me and say genderqueer. So it really comes down to talking about it, sharing my identity with people, and yeah, I guess I don't really know how else. I struggled a lot when I first started to come out because I felt like a need, or felt a sort of pressure that I needed to adopt a presentation that was somehow more non-gender conforming, so that I could present that to the world. So I kind of felt that pressure, and I struggled with it a lot to think about how I would do that, because the way that I dress and the way that I act and the way that I am is pretty much just me, and I'm more or less happy with that. So I struggled with it a lot, really thought about, or felt a lot of pressure to do that differently. And I guess after a period of time, I just became more content and satisfied with who I am, and started to see me and the way I am as genderqueer, rather than having to grab at some kind of external presentation or something to legitimise or validate my identity. So no, I don't think really people's perceptions make me act in certain ways, although I'm definitely still more or less stuck in my socialised male kind of, like, I don't stray from that a hell of a lot. I don't know if I feel comfortable straying from it a lot, and I'm not sure what the ramifications would be if I did. So, but then also I'm not really sure how to stray from it, or if I really need to or want to. So that's kind of the dilemma I face. Yeah, I'd like it if I could talk to people and explain my gender identity and share that with people, and they could just magically understand and comprehend and internalise exactly what I'm thinking and feeling and how I feel about my gender. But in reality, that's probably not the case, and people are going to have their own assumptions and draw their own conclusions, and probably perceive me either no different than how they perceived me, which I guess is a good thing, or they may think that my gender identity, what I'm talking about, they might take that on board and, I don't know, make their own, form their own ideas about that, which I guess is fine. But it does bother me that the way I feel inside is not the way that other people are going to see me. The way that I present, other people in the world aren't going to necessarily appreciate that that's done purposefully, and for the reason of my gender identity, and that my gender identity itself, my genderqueerness, and me as a gendered person is practically, for all intents and purposes, invisible in society, both in sort of straight world and queer world, and don't really fit in. And that's that's bothersome, and I don't really know what to do about that other than continue to talk about it, continue to sort of share my story, and yeah, just be as true to myself as I can be, and hopefully that's, I guess that's all I can do, really. Cool. Anyway, I better cut it short now because I have to upload from my phone, and hopefully that's going to work, otherwise it's not even going to get up on Wednesday. But I'm going to stand up and I'm going to show you the pool that I'm talking from, and I'm going to show you the city, and hopefully that will be really cool. So thanks for listening, and I'll see you next week.